Okay, we are back with day 4 of the Standing Promises Valentine's Day card challenge, reading through 1 Corinthians 13 4 through 8. And I am so sorry about the glare on my glasses. I've tried to figure out how to fix that. If you do videos and you know how to fix that issue with the lighting, let me know. But we're just going to go with it because I'm at the point where I have to have these. But we're going to read through 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It is not rude. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. And we've talked so far about love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, and today we're talking about it does not boast. So I looked up the definition of boast, and something like this. I kind of put several definitions together into one. But to boast is to talk about oneself or to think of oneself more highly than others. So when I think of this, I think about bragging, people who brag about their accomplishments or brag about what they have or just talk about how good they are all the time. And, sometimes we read through some of the scriptures and we read about different issues people have or about different sins or different things, and we think, okay, check, I'm good, I've got that one. And that's kind of what I thought about this one. Love does not boast. I'm not a boastful person. I don't brag about what I've done. I don't try to make myself out to be better than someone else or better than I am. And in fact, if you know me, I'm really hard on myself. I don't usually think that I've done anything well or that I am even as good. I struggle with that a lot. My word I struggle with is enough. And so to me, this was a piece of cake. I didn't have a problem with this. I don't boast. I'm not arrogant. I'm not conceited. But then God gave me this. He put this thought in my mind. He said, you don't brag about how good you are, but do you look down on someone and think about how bad they are? So I thought about that for a little bit, and at first I thought, no, I don't judge people. You do you, and I don't judge. But then he said, how about this? Do you ever say, how could they fill in the blank? Or, I don't understand why they would. Or, this is what I would have done. Yeah. I do say those things. I've been known to do that. I was thinking there's some pretty significant stories in the news right now, locally, of some people who did some things that I can't imagine how or why they would do that. And that was my first thought, was how could you do that to someone? How could you treat someone that way? How could you be okay to do that? And if you really look into the heart of that, that's boasting. I would never do that. I could never do that. I'm better than that. I'm much better than the person who did that. Boasting. But love does not boast. Love isn't like that. It doesn't look down on people. It doesn't think of yourself better than someone else. So boasting isn't just bragging. It's about your heart too. It's about what you hold inside your heart, what your thoughts are that other people don't get to know about or see, that you might not want them to know about or see. So love puts other people first. It serves, it thinks of others ahead of yourself. And I was thinking of examples of this, and the best example I could think of was our best example that we have in Jesus. And Jesus wasn't boastful. He, in fact, instead of thinking of himself better or making himself out to be better than someone else, he did the opposite, and he served. So in John 13, 1 through 17, I'm going to read that section and see what Jesus has to teach us about love does not boast. It was just before the Passover feast. Jesus knew that the time had come for him to leave this world and go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he now showed them the full extent of his love. The evening meal was being served, and the devil had already prompted Judas Iscariot, son of Simon, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing, and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin and began to wash his disciples' feet, drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you will understand." "No," said Peter, "you will never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, "A person who has had a bath needs only to wash his feet. His whole body is clean. You are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said not everyone was clean. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. "You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them." So our example in Jesus of love does not boast, love does not make itself better than someone, is to serve. Jesus didn't just talk about love. He showed them love. He had every reason. He was the Son of God. He is God in the flesh. He had every reason to boast and to brag and to put himself above everyone else. But he didn't do that. Instead, he tied a towel around his waist and lowered himself and so served his disciples and those he loved. So my goal in life is to be more like Jesus. That's what we're called to do as believers. We're called to follow him and to get to know him more and to become more and more like him. So when I'm tempted to boast or to think that I am somehow better than someone else, or that I would never do that, or I could never do that, or how could they do that, I need to stop and think about my example and how would Jesus love that person? Would he condemn them? Would he say, "How could you do that?" Or would he get down where they were, meet them where they are, and serve them in love? So that's what I'm going to be working on. That one touched me a lot, and thinking that I was okay on that, and not boasting and bragging, but realizing I still have some things to work on in that area too. So maybe you do as well, and we can work on that together. So love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, and it does not boast. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about love is not proud. Have a great night.